Hey, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us on our LinkedIn Live, where we are talking about the leading technology providers shaping the future of banking. We're going to have amazing conversations around banking technology market trends, what are the key drivers, business themes, and unveiling of results on the leading 50 technology providers in the core banking space. So there's a lot of excitement happening, but beyond the banking technology excitement, there's a lot of excitement generally around us, right? We are at that time of the year when we're talking about holidays or holiday plans, holiday traditions, and for all of you who are joining us from across the world, we would want to know, right? What is your holiday tradition? What is your favorite holiday tradition? What are your plans for this year? Please share that with us. And I thought I will ask my fantastic team that is out here with us to also share their traditions before we get into the banking talk track, right? So let me ask each one of you, right? So Pranati, over to you, right? What has been your favorite holiday tradition?
Yeah, thanks, Ronak. I believe, at least for me, the most cherished moments of the festival season they center around, the just the connection and the celebration. So it's like, the thrill of exchanging gifts, especially when you are a kid. At least it used to be a festival delight for me. Lights hold a special significance for me. They represent the hope, happiness. In Indian tradition, we also talk about the victory of good over evil. The other aspect also has been food, and adding to this has been, the joy that I love food. So indulging into these festive treats, especially sharing it with your family, the delicious meals and all. I think all of that is special and extremely memorable.
Awesome. Yeah. You and me both, right? Food is very important for us. So Lakshay, over to you, right? What is your favorite holiday tradition?
Yeah, thanks, Onang. And it is going to be around food for me also. So my favorite holiday tradition is spending quality time with family, baking pizza and pasta together. And it is not just about the food, right? It is about having that enjoyable experience and leaving everyone satisfied.
Wow, awesome. Good. You need to invite me for one of those holiday parties. So, we are talking about our favorite holiday tradition. So, all of you who are joining us, please, put in the chat, put a comment in the chat. What is your favorite holiday tradition? So, Kriti, how about you?
Thanks, Ronak. So I think all the check boxes get ticked, right? Connecting with people, food. For me, also personally, festivals and these holiday season is a good time to reflect back and think on how far we have come. And I love this opportunity to reconnect with a lot of the old connections. I think this is a good time to do that, and it also makes me very grateful at times for the things that we have accomplished and hope for what is to come. So I think I really love that part where it forces me to think and reconnect with people.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for sharing your favorite holiday tradition. And those who are joining us right now, please put in the chat and comment us and tell us what's your favorite holiday tradition and what are you looking forward to in the coming days and weeks. At least for me, I would say, kind of decorating the house, right? Kind of making it look good, kind of, bringing people together and hosting these parties is a big theme. And we're going to do a lot of that this year. So I know we kind of swayed too far into the holiday period. I'm trying to bring us back into banking, financial services, and all the exciting stuff that we do out here. So we are here to talk about our leading 50 core banking technology providers and what are the major drivers shaping the future of banking. I have with me a fantastic panel, so I want to introduce each one of them and also introduce myself. I'm Ronak. I'm a partner with Everest Group. I lead our global financial services research and our executive insights for our CEO office program. So again, very excited to talk to you about. And I have with me Pranati, who leads our banking financial services research. Kriti Gupta, practice director, and again co-leader for our banking financial services technology research, and then Lakshay, who is an analyst with the firm and has been doing the fantastic analysis on this, right? So I think he's the core architect of this in terms of collecting the data, kind of putting it all together, and showing us the results. So we are very excited to talk about it. And I thought, talking about banking, we were trying to understand, right, what's the theme, right? What do we want to talk about? And I've seen the parallel that all of you have driven with the future of mobility and future of banking. I think that parallel is amazing, right? So as banks move a lot of value, right? They move money, they move assets, they drive that, right? They are the backbone or the infrastructure of moving the mobility of value throughout the economy. The cars and other vehicles in the mobility industry are moving people and uh, things right around the globe. And I thought there's a bit of a parallel out here, right? So mobility industry has gone through a series of modernization and significant digital transformation. Right now we have cars that are electric, connected, they can self-drive and so many other things, right? So we've seen the not just the exterior and the experience of the mobility evolve, but it's also the core engine that has evolved. But if you look at banking as an industry, we have to drive the parallel. Yes, we are talking about digital experiences using AI to drive better access to digital services, banking products. But at the same time, we also want to talk about the core of the banking, right? So this cannot be about putting a great front end and creating an exterior of the car and great experience internally, but also the core of the car that needs to drive modernization. And I thought that is the topic we want to talk about, is core banking and core modernization. And before we unveil our results and talk more about it, I thought first let's talk about what are the major demand trends that we are seeing in our conversations with our banking and capital market clients. So, Kriti, I want to start with you, right? What are the key drivers and what have you seen in the industry?
Thanks for that, Ronak, and a very interesting question, very relevant in today's market trends that we are witnessing. So, if I look back, what has been one of the core reasons for core modernization, if you were to look at that? So, one key thing for enterprises to look at is these legacy systems that they have, and at times they have also modernized them. They have also progressed over time, but the thinking that needs to now come in is it's not just about how you help to modernize these systems at scale, and it is not just modernizing some of these few components, but it's about a fundamental shift in thinking how these core banking systems can change the day-to-day operating systems of the bank, how banks operate, and in turn percolate to the end customer. So the fundamental shift in thinking is, I think, what enterprises are really looking forward to, and what we are hearing increasingly. The other piece that we are hearing on the enterprise side is, hey, okay, if I've made that thinking switch, how do I then go about it, right? So it's not just I need to change the tech, I need to be also looking at the ecosystem around it. So it's a very well-rounded ecosystem inclusive conversation that we are seeing. And that's where this entire core modernization industry is looking at. It's what we call as the golden age of core banking is upon us.
This is interesting, right? And again, Kriti, as I reflect on this, the golden age of core banking, right? What does your analysis say about the core modernization activity?
Yeah. So we had some very interesting findings when we were doing this study globally, and we were trying to understand what are these demand trends that drive some of these core modernization activities. So if I were to look at the geographic view first, I think no surprises there. North America holds the bulk of the market share in terms of the core modernization deal activity by value, right? So we are seeing North America to be that leading geography, having that maximum share, and then we see EMEA, APAC, and UKI coming in behind in North America in terms of the deal activity that comes in. At the same time, what is interesting is while North America is holding that lion's share of the market in terms of the core modernization activity, an analysis of the publicly announced last 4 years deal database and what the activity of the enterprise is suggests some few other interesting pieces. So notably, what we are seeing, EMEA is leading the activity in terms of the deals that are getting signed, how enterprises are looking to modernize their journey. In fact, a third of the core modernization activity in the world in the last 4 years can be attributed to EMEA as a region, which is which I think points to another interesting trend, how the core modernization conversations are picking up. It is also to do with how the digital maturity has been traditionally for the enterprises in the region, along with the supporting surround ecosystem of the regulators, the regulatory compliances, how the fintechs are thriving in the scenario. So a lot of these things are contributing to it. And in fact, we again see APAC, North America also having the deal activity. Lastly, on the enterprise side of the house, right? See, this activity is not uniform across small, mid, and large size banks, and we have all heard that how the enterprise journey varies based on the size because it percolates into their priorities. Our analysis suggests mid-sized banks are the one that are holding a major share of this pie, which is again very interesting because mid-sized market and the mid-sized segment is what is driving this activity, and it is accounting for I think close to 40-45% of the market that is in this core modernization activity globally. So I think these are some of the key findings we have.
So EMEA is by volume one third of the market, but by
Yes.
value, North America leads, and mid-sized
Yes.
banking is almost 40-45% of the overall deal volume, right? So massive activity happening in core modernization. But again, as we look at banking, it is not just about core, right? It is also about the core and the surround technologies. We're talking about infrastructure, we're talking about process technologies, we're talking about AI. And Pranadi, you've been doing a lot of work in this space. What do you see the surround ecosystem playing a role when it comes to the conversation we are having around core banking modernization?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the question, Ronak. So we've observed that these surround technologies, as you're calling them, cloud, SaaS, AI, they are playing pivotal roles for code modernization. They're enhancing scalability, efficiency, and the innovation, the need for innovation across the banking financial services industry. So cloud platforms, if we double click on those, they are enabling banks to scale dynamically, reduce the infrastructure cost, accelerate the deployment of providing any robust data integration or security. We've seen several examples. We've seen the Cap One example where they've moved a large portion of their operations entirely onto public cloud. SaaS, on the other hand, it's complementing these efforts to create, more modular, cost-effective solutions. We've seen SaaS-based treasury management solutions coming from larger banks. Very interesting finding that we had as part of our research is the widespread adoption of SaaS models. We've observed that over 50% of the leading providers, they are offering these solutions. So it sort of underscores that critical role in delivering adaptable plug and play capabilities, integrate seamlessly with both legacy as well as modern systems. Last but not the least, I think no conversation is sort of complete unless we talk about AI. AI is deeply woven in the core banking fabric. Banks are sort of it's enabling banks to operate more proactively, efficiently. They're trying to automate routine tasks, be it around data reconciliation, around loan processing. AI is reducing the operational costs and errors. Additionally, AI is also enhancing the customer interactions. A lot of focus on personalization, through virtual assistants, predictive analytics. I think all of that we have been talking about. Financially, again, these technologies, they're reducing the upfront capital expenditure, through pay-as-you-go models. So all of that evolution in terms of the cost structures is also happening. Today, these advancements have made code modernization, more accessible, more flexible, and much more efficient. So this is tying back to Priti's point around that this is the age for, code modernization.
Wow, that's amazing. So, core modernization that is not just enabling you to run better, but allowing you to change and drive the velocity of change by using all these surround technologies, the power of cloud, the power of democratization of data and AI, and infusing into your business operations. That's amazing. I know we are starting to get some questions also. One question that I see is who are the top three vendors winning these core banking deals? And the good thing is we have done that analysis. We're going to talk about that. And what we'll also do is our team will put a link in the chat around downloading the complimentary abstract where we have done the analysis and you can see the results across the leading providers winning deals in North America, EMEA, UK, and Ireland, and APAC. And we have identified who are the ones who are announcing the most number of deals in each of these regions. So we do have that, and we have a lot more other recognitions coming our way. So Jay will definitely answer these questions as we go along. But before we talk about each region and the deals that folks are winning, I think it's time to talk about who are these leading 50. At least show us that who are the top 10 and the leading 50. So can we have the drum rolls please, and then get to the results, right? So okay, so we'll see where's our band, and can we have the drum rolls out here? Okay, amazing. So we have the top 10 of the leading 50 core banking technology providers. And Lakshay, do you want to talk to us about this one?
Yeah, so it's the moment you all have been waiting for, the top 10 of the leading 50 core banking tech providers. So we have spent time today discussing themes such as core modernization, SaaS-based delivery models, and the growing influence of AI. And all of these trends, are kind of validated by the leading 10 providers. So these the providers such as FIS, Pfizer, Finistra, Oracle, Temenos, all these providers are setting benchmarks in cloud native platforms, I will say, along with AI integration and SaaS based delivery models. And these providers enable banks to meet customer expectations along with the regulatory demands and the competitive pressure also. And providers with a shared focus on innovation, scalability, and tailored solutions. So providers such as TCS, Infosys Finacle, DXC Technology, Jack Henry, and Sopra Banking Software. So these providers are also empowering banks to unlock new opportunities in the digital banking era. But what unites all these providers is their ability to empower banks to modernize their core system. Having said, with tailored, innovative solution that enhance both agility and customer experiences importantly. And for the rest of the 40 providers on our list, which you can download from the complimentary abstract from the link. So a common thread we have seen is the strong focus on developing cloud native solution, embedding AI capabilities, and enabling open banking ecosystem. And this kind of aligns with the industry's biggest theme also, which is building scalability, supporting innovation, and creating a seamless banking experience for the end customer. And these providers, the leading 10 providers of our leading 50 report, are truly driving transformation in unique ways across regions and across different segments.
I think that's important to underscore out here, right? So there is so much innovation happening in the core banking space. This research is all about recognizing and celebrating all of this. And we did a massive landscape sweep, right? Again, so many, like almost 90 plus core banking technology providers were prioritized in our phase two of our research, and then finally 50 came out of it. And these are important, right? They're all innovators, they're all disruptors. Some of them have been around for a long time in the industry, so they've seen the ups and downs of the industries and have still been resilient and stayed with us. So there is a lot going on out here. So we do want to congratulate all the work all the core banking technology providers are doing. And again, this is an amazing recognition of all the work out here. We have the complimentary abstract available for download. Our team will share the link for the complimentary abstract, and you will be able to see that. So the next thing that I did want to talk about is we did so many different recognitions, right? So one of the questions was, okay, who are the recognized providers in North America, in Asia Pacific, in EMEA, and other regions, right? And the other piece was, okay, what are the different recognitions in terms of serving specific segments? And I think one that I really like, I think, in terms of the work the team has done out here, is recognitions of core banking technology providers serving credit unions. So as we go to the next slide, and Lakshay, do you also want to talk about what are we seeing here?
Yeah, so we have this special segment we have included in this report, which is the recognition for credit union. And we have recognized 19 providers out of the leading 50. And it is important to understand that credit unions operate with a distinct needs in the banks. So they look for core platforms that offer the right balance of feature, in terms of they want scalable solutions that kind of grow with them, but while remaining simple and efficient. And more importantly, these platforms must support relationship banking and local community engagement, and again, while ensuring the compliance with their local regulations and other requirements. So we do acknowledge these core banking technology providers that have excelled in creating solutions that tailor to these credit union specific need. And congratulations to these recognized providers for their commitment to this essential segment of the banking ecosystem.
Yeah, and it's important, right? So if you look at credit unions, community banks, small banks, uh, the folks who are focusing on the micro SMEs in the banking space, I think these are very critical segments. They are the backbone of the industry, driving financial inclusion, as Lakshya said, engaging with the community, and making sure that at the grassroots level we have strong financial inclusion. And that is where providing technology that is resilient, scalable, and adaptable to the unique needs of these institutions is something that we wanted to recognize as credit unions make the decisions to modernize. Because one of the things we have seen is there is a strong appetite from credit unions, community banks, building societies, and a lot of these smaller banks who are saying, yes, we want to get modern technology, move to modern core systems, and drive better experiences for our employees, for our customers. And this is a step in that journey. So, congratulations to all the technology providers featured out here. And obviously, there are so many other recognitions that are available. So, once you go through the report, you will see details on all of these recognitions around the core banking landscape. So the other thing I do want to talk about, and I love the report specifically the ecosystem section also, right? Because yes, there's a conversations around core banking, but the ecosystem is equally important. The first conversation around ecosystem is cloud, right? Cloud is very important. Core banking plays a big role in the cloud journey, and we're going to talk about that. So Kruti, can I lean upon you to tell us, from a hyperscaler perspective, how is this analysis and what are we seeing from a cloud perspective? And we can move to the next slide to see that.
Sure, Ronak. And I love the point that you brought about the ecosystem because we were touching upon it earlier when we started this off. That how the core modernization journey is incomplete without the ecosystem. It takes a village to get to the final North Star of that digitally enhanced bank and the digital bank. So, on the cloud side, right, and it's very, very, very important because the cloud based infrastructure is actually going to be the one that helps banks deploy and scale their application, reduces their time to market, and helps them to get out these feature functionalities that customers are demanding in a much faster manner. And at the same time, the big piece that these cloud, the hyperscalers bring to the table is the enhanced security measures because they comply to the industry standards, they give the secure environments. And what we did in our analysis, because hey, to run a core banking system, you need a core banking platform. But to deploy the core banking platform, you need to have the hyperscalers out there who can rapidly deploy this, reduce the time to market. And an analysis of the leading 50 core banking providers that we have featured on our assessment on our report says that almost not almost but rather 50% of the leading 50 core banking tech providers have an offering on the industry cloud of AWS, which means they are building solutions on AWS cloud. And same goes for Azure and GCP as well. So we see the immense need the core banking technology providers as well as hyperscalers feel because this is a symbiotic relationship in this ecosystem. They go hand in hand, and how they can together help at the end of the day a bank realize the digital banking journey. So I think very apt. And I think net time to market, security, and then bringing it all together for the bank is what the role cloud providers play.
That's amazing. And the way I read this is half of the leading 50 core banking technology providers are partners with AWS, and they're kind of working on that journey. That kind of is a significant number, followed closely by Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. What cloud provides the core banking technology providers is obviously a very scalable infrastructure and the broader ecosystem that also the cloud brings, and the pace of innovation that you can drive out there. So yes, there is a strong demand theme around core banking on cloud, and not just core banking on cloud, but also talking about core banking on the public cloud that we are talking a lot about now. So This is going to be exciting. And obviously this is early stages of that journey. We're still in the nascency, is how I would put it, which is surprising to a lot of folks. Is not a lot of banks have their core banking on the public cloud, so this is just getting started. It's a very small fractional percentages, but the number of these leading 50 providers who have partnered with hyperscalers is a testament to the fact that yes, there is activity that's going to happen out here. So that's amazing. But if you look at core banking technology, the other piece then becomes is yes, we need the infrastructure, but we also need to have system integrators, right? System integrators who can work with these core banking technology providers, help in the implementation, support, and build on top of the core banking technology and drive the modernization effort. So, Kriti, do you want to talk about how that ecosystem is shaping up?
Definitely, Ronak. I think this was one of the most interesting and one of my favorite pieces of analysis that we did in our research, because the system integrators are a crucial part of enabling this core modernization journey, because they make modernization achievable and believable for enterprises of all scales and sizes. Enterprises could have limited in-house capabilities, but they make that strategy real. They help in executing it. At the same time, I think what is interesting to see and what is really important to also see is the shift that is happening in the perspective of what SIs bring to the table, right? So the role is more beyond they help us deploy and integrate software solutions. No, but they bring that comprehensive approach. They have the grassroots knowledge. They know the business architecture, process optimization, and how to balance risks as you undergo that core modernization journey. So I think the role of SIs has evolved a lot, and I think this is where Lakshay, I would want you to also talk about the analysis that you did about the SI ecosystem, because this was quite interesting.
Yeah, thanks, Kriti. And yes, SIs do play a very important role in enabling successful core banking transformation. And I will put it serving both as a strategic partner as well as the technical partner for the banks. And yes, 76% of the leading 50 core banking technology providers partner with SIs, which kind of highlights that their integral role in managing these complex transformation and scale. So these partnerships kind of range across level of engagement. As you can see, like we have created three buckets: less than 10%, 10 to 20, more than 20, which shows the ecosystem diversity. So bunch of these providers with different ranges focused on specialized transformation, while a few demonstrating scalable expertise and growing influence, and a few establishing themselves as go-to partners for these large-scale transformation and the comprehensive transformation. What essentially makes them indispensable part of this ecosystem is their, as Kriti highlighted, is the ability to accelerated time to market, optimizing cost is second, and obviously enhancing the overall operational effectiveness. The leading SIs we have highlighted in this report exemplify this comprehensive expertise, and these players and providers acting as the key players in driving successful core banking transformation.
Perfect. No, again, thank you, Lakshay. And again, these are 24, 25 watt, system integrators, service providers who are driving innovation in the core banking modernization journey. They are the ones who are, working towards defining the target state architecture, driving the technical, architecture, but also the overall roadmap design, thinking about the integrations, and training a lot of people on these core banking technologies so that clients have best in class talent who understands the ins and out, the challenges and the complexity that comes with core banking modernization, and then drive towards this story out here. So this is really powerful as we see all of this come out here. Uh, so let's again, there's one more question that's come in. I was just kind of looking at that, right? Are we seeing multi-cloud deployments? Absolutely, right? So we do have a conversations around hybrid cloud. There are clients who are thinking about this because they may want to think through this in a in a multi-cloud deployment, and also across different lines of businesses may want to think about it differently. So absolutely, we have conversations. It's been more on multi-line businesses where people are asking us this question. The complexity of that is something that everybody's struggling with, and obviously the talent that you need across the multi-cloud environment is something that also folks struggle with. So it gives you challenges around your overall observability stack, thinking about resiliency, but also thinking about, is the technology, the core banking technology, ready for that multi-cloud deployment? So that also is a core thing. So we always see a pros and cons on both the sides, and also there's regulatory compliance around, how do we kind of deal with that? So it's a complex problem, and that's definitely an area where we are kind of seeing that. So this has been exciting, right? So we spoke about core banking technology providers who are driving innovation in this industry. We spoke about how are they doing this across regions, across different client sizes and client types like credit unions. We also spoke about the ecosystem of system integrators and hyperscalers. And again, congratulations to all of you. And again, also thank you to all the industry participants for giving us all the information as we are doing this research. And again, Laksha, Ekriti, Pranati, thank you for kind of putting the work together on doing this. So,
Yeah.
so go ahead, go ahead.
Ronak, yeah. So, I know the journey at least we've had in the last few months in terms of, creating the view of what we are seeing right now, the leading 50 in this shape and form. And as you rightly pointed out, we have a lot of people to thank here for their support on our research. But I want to take a step back and ask you that, what was the driver for envisioning the leading 50? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would say this has been driven by the inquiries we've been getting, right? And if you look at most of the customer inquiries have been around regional line of business, technology providers by different sizes, and also questions around ease of deployment, ease of configuration, partnership ecosystem, feature functionality mapping, adherence to modern technology, architecture principles like containerizations, microservices, and others. So there have been so many questions that have come across. And as we have done I would say, the supplier recommendations, long list creation, we realized that, there's a lot of data that we've amassed over the years doing this work. So it's important to also celebrate this and put it out together. So this became the start of the journey to do the leading 50 core banking technology provider. If you look at a lot of our work, has been across I think, very deep process technologies where we've kind of gone very deep into loan origination systems, wealth management processes, trade lifecycle management, financial risk and compliance. We are doing something on the financial crime and compliance right now, right? So many different research reports going on. But core banking is the crux of it, right? So it drives the industry, it's the engine of the industry. We thought, hey, this is a great opportunity and a good time to do this. So we are really excited about the work that has happened out here, and the industry, I would say, the participation, but also the industry, kind of putting in a lot of effort, responding to a lot of our requests for data and kind of providing us the information to do this. So I would say that's the reason why, I think I'm very proud of this work and the reason for doing this.
And that's quite interesting, I think, Ronak, because it's a journey in itself, how the leading 50 was envisioned and how the shape and form it is today, like Pranati said. And you also touched upon the different lines of businesses, how it is taking its shape and form across other pieces, and the deeper dive on areas like wealth, lending, and financial crime and compliance we are doing, which also makes me curious to ask you, because you have been on a traveling spree in the past few weeks, and you have met so many people, so many enterprises, so many tech providers, service providers, and I think you were recently at Money 2020 as well. Do you want to share with us what were some of the observations and learnings, because we were also in the very close phases of the leading 50 at that time, and you got to meet a lot of the tech providers out there.
Yeah, uh, absolutely. So I would say, there are a few reflections, and as I reflect and I kind of try to structure my thoughts around this, the first big one was the industry opening up and saying, yes, this is a great initiative that Everest Group is doing, right? Hey, you're kind of building the long list, and so that there is opportunity for a lot of innovators to come in, because a lot of the analysis that we have done in the past only feature the top 5 or 10 or 12 providers on our 2 by 2 matrices, but the rest of the industry doesn't see that recognition. So the idea was to create the longer list, the ability to kind of map the ecosystem and then build this by geographies, by the different lines of businesses, and also different types of core banking systems and the work they do across banks of different sizes. So I think the recognition was very strong. So I think the technology providers do like that. As I spoke to a lot of clients, I think they have a very significant challenge on their way. They've been working around total cost of ownership as a core theme, which is not just the technology cost, but everything around it, right? Which is the system integration cost, the running of operations on top of it, uh, infrastructure cost, and everything else that goes along with it, right? So the key question that they're asking us is, how can they drive total cost of operations for their modern technology stack and their modern technology or an operation stack, if I have to call it, and at the same time be resilient so that they're secure, they're protected, and they're able to reduce the overall cost, right, as they're doing this. So don't break the bank, change the bank, but run it in a resilient manner at a cost that is where we can make good money. And I think that is critical, and that is where the question around the ecosystem came in. That is where the conversation around the technology providers being more configurable, flexible, easy to deploy became important. I think that's where the framework around easy to buy, easy to deploy and configure, and easy to manage and run on top of it became a core theme of how we look at it. And the third, I would say, is this focus around financial crime and compliance. A lot of conversations around how do we think, right? We had conversations around an amount of fraud that is happening on checks, right? And that's, I know a lot of people will say, oh, are we still using checks? Absolutely, right? It's one of the core themes, right? Or everything that we're seeing in terms of digital identity, in terms of fraud, in terms of using of AI in the banking processes, financial crime and compliance processes. So we do believe this is going to be a strong space. But the one that I took away, at least personally, I believe this is something new to me, is this blurring of lines between core technology and the process technologies. And the reason I say this is very important is we had core technologies that were engines who had the systems of records, but at the same time we started seeing this process technology map evolving. It started with process automation, process workflow engines, to a lot of document processing, data processing, to process orchestration and everything coming together and then being built using low code technology for specific use cases. So all the work is happening in the process stack, if I have to call it the process tech stack, but a lot of the transactions and the records still have to be there in the core systems as you look at it. We are seeing the core systems wanting to be more configurable and allowing more automation out of the box and enabling a lot of the work to happen. And at the same time, the process technology, the low code technology providers building more core capabilities. So this blurring of the lines between the two segments, which we used to see as very distinct, is starting to happen. It's so early days. It's happening in pockets, but we have a very strong hypothesis that this is something which is going to happen is how do we see the core technology stack and the process technology stack blurring and kind of merging in each other. So this will drive mergers and acquisitions in the industry over the next 5 to 7 years. This is where product roadmap and product development will happen. Everything that we are seeing with AI and agentic AI and the work around data, this becomes another core theme that we see. So as I reflect on Money 2020, absolutely, this blurring of core and process technology was a key takeaway beyond all the other things that I kind of mentioned here.
I think that's that's very relevant in today's time as well. And the piece you mentioned around blurring of lines, I think it has become even more relevant because we see this demand driver being, hey, how do I serve my customers better? How do I protect them from the customer churn that may potentially come in? I think with open banking, making that entry across geographies in different shapes and forms, customers, the power is in the hand of the customers, and banks really need to be thinking, or rather rethinking, that they cannot be the sellers of these commoditized products anymore. And how do they do that? And the piece you mentioned around data and processes, I think that particularly resonated with me because it's the bedrock to make any technology implementation successful, to get insights, to build that single customer 360-degree customer view, and also to come up with targeted and personalized recommendations. So yeah, I think completely on board with those pieces, and glad to see that the similar findings and the interactions you had across the market. I'm also curious to know about this, Ronak, because you touched upon the pieces around process, right? And if you look at the different lines of businesses within the banking and financial services world, it's a lot of them, and the process that runs, the backbone that runs through all of it is what keeps the systems running. And
Yeah.
so, I know leading 50, we have talked about it, but what do you see is coming up next in terms of the research that we do on the tech side?
Yeah, no, again, from a banking technology perspective, one we definitely want to talk about is cybersecurity. So within that, digital identity is a core theme. So we will talk about digital identity in the financial services space. It is, I think, a topic of concern for all our clients in terms of driving resiliency. The second is around AI and generative AI across processes, including financial crime and compliance. Is the second topic that we're talking about. And then we have a lot of buying trends and buyer guides, right? Because one of the things folks have asked us is, hey, we have challenges around build versus buy. We have questions around what's the best of the breed approach. How do we think of the overall technology stack, and what should be our playbook as we look at modernization decisions? So a playbook on modernization decisions across lines of businesses right now. I know, Kriti, you're working on the wealth management right now, which is going to be very powerful, but also similarly in other lines of businesses as we look at in the financial services space. So definitely that is going to be important. Open banking is going to be a core theme with CFPB 1033, right? Again, 1100 banks and financial institutions have to drive compliance by 2030. It's a huge number over the next 5 to 6 years. So there's a lot of activity that's going to happen out here. It's going to start with consulting, advisory, but it's going to get into a lot of technology integrations, API layer setting up. So the open banking and the API management layer is going to open up, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So we're going to track that space very closely. And again, a lot of other exciting updates. So feel free to reach out to us if you have questions around our research agenda for next year. Do download the complimentary abstract of the core banking technology leading 50 reports that's out there. And reach out to us with more questions. I know we have a few questions in the chat. Let's answer those before we close. But again, if there are any other questions from folks who are listening us live, or the ones who will listen to the recording later, please reach out to us and share your questions. We had one question: is what is the outlook for deals next year? I think one of the reasons we did the leading 50 is we believe the outlook of the deals is very positive. We are actually seeing a lot more. One of the things we've seen is Middle East as a market. We continue to see core banking modernization deal. Second, I think Kriti already talked about Europe as a whole. But I would say Southeast Asia also is a market now that is heating up in terms of overall core modernization deal, followed by Americas across Latin America. And as we look at North America, we are seeing activity in the US, in the Canada market as well. And these are driven by digital banking transformation, payments transformation, and in some cases, legacy that they want to kind of, work around with, including mainframe. Maybe the core technology is not the reason why they're doing it, but the cost of managing the mainframe is the reason why they may want to think about, moving. So we do expect the deals coming up. Some of that depends on the overall economic environment and how the growth shapes up for the industry, but we are positive on that front as well. So core modernization absolutely is one theme. And the other question that we have is around system integrators and the preference for system integrators. Again, there are certain technology providers who do have their, who have their in-house system integration arms. I think the clients are very comfortable working with a single provider who can give them the technology and the advice and the system integration. And at times, they always are asking about reinforcement from third-party suppliers because they want to have talent in the market around these platforms. So they'll keep pushing these suppliers to build more talent, specifically around implementation advisory. So that's always there. So I would say SIs play a very core role in the core modernization, the consulting and system integration providers. And banks do look to them for their advice, their guidance as they're looking for the core modernization activity. So I think that's all from our end. Pranati, Kriti, Lakshay, thank you for the amazing work on the leading 50 technology providers, core banking technology providers. There's a lot more to come. I hope everybody enjoyed the discussion today, and feel free to reach out to us with more questions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.